Human needs. As animals, humans are motivated by such physiological needs as hunger, sex, and safety, but they can never resolve their human dilemma by satisfying these animal needs. Only the distinctive human needs can move people toward a reunion with the natural world. These existential needs have emerged during the evolution of human culture, growing out of their attempts to find an answer to their existence and to avoid becoming insane. Indeed, Fromm contended that one important difference between mentally healthy individuals and neurotic or insane ones is that healthy people find answers to their existence, answers that more completely correspond to their total human needs. In other words, healthy individuals are better able to find ways of reuniting to the world by productively solving the human needs of relatedness, transcendence, rootedness, a sense of identity, and a frame of orientation. Relatedness. The first human, or existential, need is relatedness, the drive for union with another person or other persons. Fromm postulated three basic ways in which a person may relate to the world: 1. Submission, 2. Power, and 3. Love. A person can submit to another, to a group, or to an institution in order to become one with the world. In this way he transcends the separateness of his individual existence by becoming part of somebody or something bigger than himself and experiences his identity in connection with the power to which he has submitted. Whereas submissive people search for a relationship with domineering people, power seekers welcome submissive partners. When a submissive person and a domineering person find each other, they frequently establish a symbiotic relationship, one that is satisfying to both partners. Although such symbiosis may be gratifying, it blocks growth toward integrity and psychological health. The two partners live on each other and from each other, satisfying their craving for closeness, yet suffering from the lack of inner strength and self-reliance which would require freedom and independence. People in symbiotic relationships are drawn to one another not by love but by a desperate need for relatedness, a need that can never be completely satisfied by such a partnership. Underlying the union are unconscious feelings of hostility. People in symbiotic relationships blame their partners for not being able to completely satisfy their needs. They find themselves seeking additional submission or power, and as a result, they become more and more dependent on their partners and less of an individual. Fromm believed that love is the only route by which a person can become united with the world and, at the same time, achieve individuality and integrity. He defined love as a union with somebody, or something outside oneself under the condition of retaining the separateness and integrity of one's own self. Love involves sharing and communion with another, yet it allows a person the freedom to be unique and separate. It enables a person to satisfy the need for relatedness without surrendering integrity and independence. In love, two people become one yet remain two. In the art of loving, Fromm identified care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge as four basic elements common to all forms of genuine love. Someone who loves another person must care for that person and be willing to take care of him or her. Love also means responsibility, that is, a willingness and ability to respond. A person who loves others responds to their physical and psychological needs, respects them for who they are, and avoids the temptation of trying to change them. But people can respect others only if they have knowledge of them. To know others means to see them from their own point of view. Thus, care, responsibility, respect, and knowledge are all entwined in a love relationship. Transcendence. Like other animals, humans are thrown into the world without their consent or will and then removed from it again without their consent or will. But unlike other animals, human beings are driven by the need for transcendence, defined as the urge to rise above a passive and accidental existence and into the realm of purposelessness and freedom. Just as relatedness can be pursued through either productive or non-productive methods, transcendence can be sought through either positive or negative approaches. People can transcend their passive nature by either creating life or by destroying it. Although other animals can create life through reproduction, only humans are aware of themselves as creators. Also, humans can be creative in other ways. They can create art, religions, ideas, laws, material production, and love. To create means to be active and to care about that which we create. But we can also transcend life by destroying it and thus rising above own slain victims. In the Anatomy of Human Destructiveness, Fromm argued that humans are the only species to use malignant aggression, that is, to kill for reasons other than survival. Although malignant aggression is a dominant and powerful passion in some individuals and cultures, it is not common to all humans. It apparently was unknown to many prehistoric societies as well as some contemporary primitive societies. Rootedness. A third existential need is for rootedness, or the need to establish roots or to feel at home again in the world. When humans evolved as a separate species, they lost their home in the natural world. At the same time, their capacity for thought enabled them to realize that they were without a home, without roots. The consequent feelings of isolation and helplessness became unbearable. Rootedness, too, can be sought in either productive or non-productive strategies. With the productive strategy, people are weaned from the orbit of their mother and become fully born, that is, they actively and creatively relate to the world and become whole or integrated. This new tie to the natural world confers security and re-establishes a sense of belongingness and rootedness. However, people may also seek rootedness through the non-productive strategy of fixation, a tenacious reluctance to move beyond the protective security provided by one's mother. People who strive for rootedness through fixation are afraid to take the next step of birth, to be weaned from the mother's breast. They have a deep craving to be mothered, nursed, protected by a motherly figure. They are the externally dependent ones, who are frightened and insecure when motherly protection is withdrawn. Rootedness can also be seen phylogenetically in the evolution of the human species. Fromm agreed with Freud that incestuous desires are universal, but he disagreed with Freud's belief that they are essentially sexual. According to Fromm, incestuous feelings are based in the deep-seated craving to remain in, or to return to, the all-enveloping womb, or to the all-nourishing breasts. Fromm was influenced by Johann Jacob Bachofen's ideas on early matriarchal societies. Unlike Freud, who believed that early societies were patriarchal, Bachofen held that the mother was the central figure in these ancient social groups. It was she who provided roots for her children and motivated them either to develop their individuality and reason or become fixated and incapable of psychological growth. Fromm's strong preference for Bachofen's mother-centered theory of the Oedipal situation over Freud's father-centered conception is consistent with his preference for older women. Fromm's first wife, Frieda Fromm-Reichmann, was more than 10 years older than Fromm, and his longtime lover, Karen Horney, was 15 years his senior. Fromm's conception of the Oedipus complex as a desire to return to the mother's womb or breast or to a person with a mothering function should be viewed in light of his attraction to older women. Sense of identity. The fourth human need is for a sense of identity, or the capacity to be aware of ourselves as a separate entity. Because we have been torn away from nature, we need to form a concept of ourself, to be able to say, I am I, or I am the subject of my actions. Fromm believed that primitive people identified more closely with their clan and did not see themselves as individuals existing apart from their group. Even during medieval times, people were identified largely by their social role in the feudal hierarchy. In agreement with Marx, Fromm believed that the rise of capitalism has given people more economic and political freedom. However, this freedom has given only a minority of people a true sense of I. The identity of most people still resides in their attachment to others or to institutions such as nation, religion, occupation, or social group. Instead of the pre-individualistic clan identity, a new herd identity develops in which the sense of identity rests on the sense of an unquestionable belonging to the crowd. That this uniformity and conformity are often not recognized as such, and are covered by the illusion of individuality, does not alter the facts. Without a sense of identity, people could not retain their sanity, and this threat provides a powerful motivation to do almost anything to acquire a sense of identity. Neurotics try to attach themselves to powerful people or to social or political institutions. Healthy people, however, have less need to conform to the herd, less need to give up their sense of self. They do not have to surrender their freedom and individuality in order to fit into society because they possess an authentic sense of identity. Frame of orientation. A final human need is for a frame of orientation. Being split off from nature, humans need a roadmap, a frame of orientation, to make their way through the world. Without such a map, humans would be confused and unable to act purposefully and consistently. A frame of orientation enables people to organize the various stimuli that impinge on them. People who possess a solid frame of orientation can make sense of these events and phenomena, but those who lack a reliable frame of orientation will, nevertheless, strive to put these events into some sort of framework in order to make sense of them. For example, an American with a shaky frame of orientation and a poor understanding of history may attempt to understand the events of September 11, 2001, by blaming them on evil or bad people. Every person has a philosophy, a consistent way of looking at things. Many people take for granted this philosophy or frame of reference so that anything at odds with their view is judged as crazy or unreasonable. Anything consistent with it is seen simply as common sense. People will do nearly anything to acquire and retain a frame of orientation, even to the extreme of following irrational or bizarre philosophies such as those espoused by fanatical political and religious leaders. A road map without a goal or destination is worthless. Humans have the mental capacity to imagine many alternative paths to follow. To keep from going insane, however, they need a final goal or object of devotion. According to Fromm, this goal or object of devotion focuses people's energies in a single direction, enables us to transcend our isolated existence, and confers meaning to their lives. Summary of human needs. In addition to physiological or animal needs, people are motivated by 5 distinctively human needs: relatedness, transcendence, rootedness, a sense of identity, and a frame of orientation. These needs have evolved from human existence as a separate species and are aimed at moving people toward a reunion with the natural world. Fromm believed that lack of satisfaction of any of these needs is unbearable and results in insanity. Thus, people are strongly driven to fulfill them in some way or another, either positively or negatively. It shows that relatedness can be satisfied through submission, domination, or love, but only love produces authentic fulfillment. Transcendence can be satisfied either by destructiveness or creativeness, but only the latter permits joy. Rootedness can be satisfied by either fixation to the mother or by moving forward into full birth and wholeness. The sense of identity can be based on adjustment to the group, or it can be satisfied through creative movement toward individuality, and a frame of orientation may be either irrational or rational, but only irrational philosophy can serve as a basis for the growth of total personality.